Hey guys, tonight we are going to get dressed. Slowly, very slowly, because we're traveling back to a time before zippers, elastic waistbands, or the basic human right to a private bedroom. In fact, if you were suddenly transported there, with your modern immune system and deep appreciation for indoor plumbing, you probably wouldn't survive this. But since this is a safe, cozy journey from your bed, you'll be just fine. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Your support is quietly and deeply appreciated, and in the comments below, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is. It's always wonderful to see where these stories are landing. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The first thing you become aware of is not a sight, but a sound. A low, rhythmic crackling that has been the steady heartbeat of your entire night. It's the sound of the long fire, the pulsing heart of the house, smoldering in its stone-lined trench down the center of the great hall. It never truly goes out. Someone, always, is tasked with feeding it, even in the deepest hours of sleep. The second thing you notice is the smell. It's a complex, layered scent that you know better than your own name. It's the sharp, resinous perfume of pine smoke, the earthy aroma of the sod roof above you, the faint, lingering ghost of last night's roasted meat, and the warm, slightly animal scent of sleeping bodies wrapped in wool and fur. You are lying on your side, on a wooden platform that runs along the wall. It's your bed, your bench, your whole designated zone of existence. Your concept of personal space is about the size of a modern-day placemat, and even that is negotiable. Underneath you is a mattress of packed straw and fragrant heather, and over you are layers of heavy, slightly scratchy woolen blankets and a soft deer hide. You pull the hide a little closer to your chin, enjoying the last moments of stillness. There is no alarm clock here, no urgent summons to the day. The only clock is the slow, gray light beginning to filter through the smoke hole in the roof. A single, hazy column in the otherwise deep shadow of the Longhouse. You can hear the soft sounds of your world waking up, the gentle, breathy snores of your father from the other side of the fire pit, the quiet rustle of your siblings, still lost in dreams, a soft cough from your grandmother, further down the bench, and from the far end of the Longhouse, partitioned off for the most valuable livestock during the cold seasons, you hear the contented sigh of a cow. That's right. Your morning alarm is occasionally a gentle moo. It's less jarring than a phone, you have to admit. You take a slow, deep breath, and the air is cool and thick. It's not clean air, not in the way you might think of it. It's air full of life and history, every particle telling a story of the fire, the cooking, the people. Historians still wonder if the ventilation in these longhouses, with just a couple of smoke holes and a door at each end, was truly enough to clear the air, or if everyone simply adapted to living in a perpetual, cozy haze. Perhaps it was the price of staying warm against the biting northern winds. Life of slightly stinging eyes, and a world viewed through a soft, smoky filter. Slowly, carefully, you push the heavy blankets away. The air that hits your skin is chilly, raising goosebumps on your arms. You're sleeping in a simple linen shift, a basic undergarment that has softened with countless washings. You sit up, your bare feet finding the cold, hard-packed earth of the floor. Your back is against the rough, timbered wall of the house. You can feel the grain of the wood, the slight give of the woven wattle panels between the main posts. For a moment, you just sit there, a silent observer in your own home. The fire pulses, and in the momentary flare of an ember, you see the vastness of your world. The Longhouse is one enormous, cavernous room. The roof, supported by 2 rows of massive wooden pillars, soars high above you, lost in shadow. It feels more like a cathedral of timber than a house. You can see the dim outlines of looms, chests, and benches. Tools hang from the walls, their shapes softened by the gloom. Everything has a place, and everything smells of wood smoke and use. This is the Great Hall, the Scully, where life happens. It is where you eat, sleep, work, and tell stories. It's a communal, living space, humming with the quiet energy of 3 generations under one long roof. Asterisk, you run a hand through your hair. It's a tangled, heavy mass from a night of sleep, untamed. That will not do. The day cannot truly begin until some order has been established. And for your people, that order begins with the hair. It's a matter of pride, a signal of cleanliness and self-respect in a world that is often messy and chaotic. Before you think of the morning meal, before you consider the chores that await, your mind goes to a small, precious object that rests in a carved wooden box on the bench beside you. It's more than just a tool. It is an extension of you, a piece of art you carry every day. It's your comb, and the slow, methodical ritual of using it is the first true step into the waking world. You reach for it in the near darkness, your fingers knowing it's shaped by heart. Asterisk, asterisk, your fingers close around it. The familiar cool weight, a small anchor in the dim morning. It's not one solid piece, but a clever assembly of parts, a testament to the skill of its maker. The 2 main side plates are made from the shed antler of a great stag, smoothed and polished by years of handling until they feel like river stones. They are held together by a series of small, dark rivets made of iron or bronze, each one set perfectly flush. Between these plates is a row of delicate teeth, cut from a different piece of bone, each one shaped and filed with painstaking precision. This composite design makes the comb strong and flexible, far less likely to snap on a stubborn knot than a single piece of wood. Asterisk, you lift it from the box. In the faint, flickering light from the central fire, the surface of the antler seems to glow with a soft, golden warmth. It's decorated, of course. Everything of value is. A series of swirling, interlocking knots flow across the surface, a design that seems to have no beginning and no end. It's a pattern you have seen on carved stones, on the prows of ships, on the hilts of swords. It is the visual language of your people. There are no images of gods or great beasts on your comb. It is a simple, everyday object, yet it is still worthy of beauty. This is a widely accepted truth here. If something is worth making, it is worth making beautiful. Asterisk, you hold it in your palm for a moment, feeling the satisfying heft. This is not some cheap, disposable thing. It was likely a gift, or perhaps you traded for it yourself. It is one of your most personal and essential possessions, as vital as a knife or a needle. Archaeologists in the distant future will find thousands upon thousands of these, in the graves of men, women, and children, a silent testament to how deeply your people cared about their appearance. They are the single most common find in Viking Age settlements, more common than many types of weapons. And why wouldn't they be? A sword might see battle once a season, a comb sees battle every single morning. Asterisk. And the battle today is with your own magnificent bedhead. Asterisk, you begin at the ends of your hair, a trick your mother taught you. You don't just rake it from the scalp down. That's a fool's game that only invites breakage and fury. No, this is a process of patient negotiation. You work gently, holding a section of hair in one hand and drawing the teeth of the comb through the last few inches with the other. A faint, dry, clicking sound fills the quiet space around you as the bone teeth move through the strands. When you meet a tangle, you pause. You don't rip or tear. You work it out, teasing the knot apart with the tip of the comb or your fingers, your movements slow and deliberate. This isn't a chore to be rushed. It is the first mindful act of the day. It is a ritual of untangling not just your hair, but your mind, preparing it for the hours ahead. It's your version of a morning meditation, a quiet conversation between you and your own body. Asterisk, you slowly work your way up, section by section. The repetitive motion is calming. The fire crackles. The cow sighs again. The world is still hushed and half asleep. And here you are, bringing order to chaos, one strand at a time. This simple act is a declaration. It says you are not a thrall, not a captive, not someone whose body is neglected. It signals health and cleanliness. In a world without modern medicine, keeping clean is a form of defense. And removing dirt, debris, and unwelcome tiny guests from your hair is a crucial first step. Some combs even have a second, much finer set of teeth on the opposite side. Specifically for this purpose, a quirky but practical design for yours is a single-sided one. But you check it carefully in the low light after every few passes. Asterisk as you comb. Your thumb traces the carved patterns again. You wonder about the person who made it. Did they sit by a fire just like this one, their knife carefully shaving away slivers of antler? Historians still wonder if these patterns held specific, personal meanings. Was the endless knot on your comb a symbol of loyalty, a charm for a long life? Or was it simply the signature style of a particularly talented artisan from a nearby settlement, a fashionable pattern that everyone wanted that year? The lines are so precise, so full of intention, it's hard to believe they are merely for show. Perhaps it's a bit of both, a beautiful object that, with your hair now tamed and lying in a heavy, orderly sheet down your back, you rise to your feet. The packed earth floor is cold, but familiar beneath your soles. You move with a practiced quietness, weaving your way around the sleeping forms of your family and the scattered chests that hold their worldly goods. You are a shadow moving through shadows, your path illuminated only by the faint, pulsing glow from the long fire. Each step is deliberate, avoiding the stray boot, the discarded weaving shuttle, the dog twitching in a dream of chasing rabbits. The air is thick with sleep, and you have no desire to disturb it. Asterisk, your destination is the door at the far end of the hall. It's not a door with hinges and a neat little knob. It's a heavy, planked affair that pivots on wooden posts, secured from the inside with a thick wooden bar. Lifting the bar takes a familiar effort, a quiet grunt as you slide the heavy timber from its brackets. The door groans, a soft complaint as you pull it inward, just enough to slip through. Asterisk, the change is immediate and absolute. You step from the warm, smoky, human-scented cocoon of the Longhouse into a world that is breathtakingly clean and cold. The air outside is a physical thing, a crisp, invisible blanket that wraps around you instantly. It smells of pine needles, damp with dew, of whetstone, and of the sharp, clean bite of salt blowing in from the water. It's so pure, it almost stings your lungs, a stark contrast to the thick, lived-in air indoors. The gray pre-dawn light is gentle, bathing the world in shades of silver and deep blue. The farmstead is quiet. The other longhouses are still dark, their sod roofs blending into the surrounding landscape. The only sound is the distant cry of a gull and the impossibly soft, rhythmic lapping of water against stone. Asterisk, you follow a well-worn path that leads away from the house, your bare feet finding the cold, smooth stones and patches of damp moss. The path winds down a short, gentle slope to the edge of the fjord, and there it is, your wash basin. The water is like black glass, perfectly still, mirroring the deep gray sky and the towering dark shapes of the mountains on the other side. A thin wisp of mist hangs over its surface, swirling gently in a breeze you can't even feel. It is profoundly, intimidatingly beautiful, and profoundly, intimidatingly cold. Asterisk, you kneel on a large, flat rock at the water's edge that serves as a natural pier. For a moment, you just watch your breath plume in the air before you. This is the part of the morning that never gets easier. It requires a certain amount of courage, a deliberate act of will. There is no warm tap to turn, no cozy, heated bathroom. There is only you and the ancient, icy heart of the fjord. You lean forward, cup your hands, and plunge them into the water. Asterisk, the shock is instantaneous. It's a sharp, piercing cold that shoots up your arms and seems to jolt your very bones. It's nature's most effective method for ending a dream. You gasp, a sharp intake of breath, as you bring the water to your face. It feels like being slapped awake by the mountain itself. The first splash is a shock, the second, a surrender, and the third is almost cleansing. The last vestiges of sleep are washed away, leaving behind a feeling of sharp, vibrant clarity. Your skin tingles, your blood sings. This is more effective than any cup of coffee could ever hope to be. Asterisk, foreign travelers. Like the Arab diplomat Ibn Fadlan would later write about your people's habit of washing their faces every single day. He seemed a little scandalized by it, describing in his journals how everyone in a household would share the same bowl of water, one after the other. Historians still wonder if he was witnessing a specific ritual, or if it was common practice to conserve water this way, a kind of hygiene that valued community over squeamishness. You, however, have an entire fjord at your disposal. You don't need to share. Asterisk, next to the rock is a small, hollowed-out stone, where you keep a small, precious block. It's your soap. It is not a fragrant, bubbly bar from a distant market. It's a dense, grayish, waxy block made from rendered animal fat and wood ashlie soap. It smells faintly of the fire and has a slightly gritty texture. It's a quirky, humble little thing, but incredibly effective. You rub it between your wet hands, and it produces a thin, slippery lather that doesn't foam so much as it just works. You scrub your hands thoroughly, the lye stinging a little in a small cut on your knuckle. This stuff cuts through grease and grime with an efficiency that would make a modern chemist proud. You rinse them in the fjord, the water turning slightly milky around your fingers before being swept away into the deep. Your hands are now red from the cold, but they are clean, truly clean. Asterisk, you look down into the water, and for a fleeting moment, you see your reflection. It's not a perfect mirror. It's a dark, wavering ghost of a face, a soft focus version of you, staring back from the depths. You look awake. You look alive. The sting has faded from your skin, replaced by a pleasant, tingling numbness. You are ready, taking one last deep breath of the clean, cold air. You stand up and turn back, toward the Longhouse. The warmth of the fire, and the slow, careful ritual of choosing your clothes for the day await. Asterisk, you slip back inside the Longhouse, securing the heavy door behind you. The warmth of the interior wraps around you like a familiar blanket, a welcome contrast to the sharp chill outside. Your eyes, now adjusted to the dimness, can make out more detail. The long fire has been fed a few fresh logs, and it crackles more brightly, casting dancing, orange shadows on the timber walls and the faces of those still sleeping. The air smells even richer now, the wood smoke mingling with the faint scent of porridge beginning to warm in a pot suspended over the flames. Someone is awake and has begun the first domestic tasks of the day. Asterisk, you return to your spot on the bench, your small island of personal territory. Your skin is still tingling from the cold water, a pleasant hum of aliveness that makes you feel keenly aware of your own body. It's time to dress, a process that is, like everything else this morning, unhurried and methodical. There is a small wooden chest at the foot of your sleeping platform, its lid dark and smooth from years of use. You lift it, the simple iron hinges making a soft, metallic sigh. Inside, folded with a neatness born of habit, are your clothes. The first layer you pull out is your undertunic, or serk asterisk. It's made of linen, and the fabric feels cool and slightly coarse against your fingertips. This isn't the gossamer fine linen of a royal court. It's a sturdy, homespun fabric, woven on the upright loom that stands in the corner of the hall. You know its texture intimately. You know the slight irregularities in the weave, the places where the thread is a little thicker, a little thinner. It's a fabric with character, a map of its own creation. Asterisk, You stand up and pull off the simple linen shift you slept in, letting it fall to the bench. For a moment, you are bare-chested in the chilly air, the firelight flickering over your skin. There is no concept of modern privacy here, no screen to hide behind. Modesty is a different concept for your people. It's not about hiding the body, but about presenting it in a way that is neat, clean, and appropriate for your station. The casual, communal nudity of a family getting dressed by the fire is as natural as breathing. Asterisk, you pull the undertunic over your head. The linen is stiff at first, but it will soften with the warmth of your body. The garment is simple in construction, a T-shaped tunic that falls to your mid. The sleeves are long and straight. The neckline a simple keyhole opening. There is no color to it, just the natural off-white hue of the processed flax from which it was made. Bleaching linen to a pure white is a laborious, time-consuming process, and such pristine garments are usually reserved for the very wealthy or for special occasions. Your everyday silk is a practical, honest garment, and it is the foundation of everything else you will wear today. Asterisk linen is a wonderful, almost magical fabric. It's incredibly strong and becomes softer with every wash. More importantly, it's absorbent. This underlayer is your protection, wicking sweat and oils away from your body and, crucially, protecting your more valuable outer garments from getting soiled. It's much easier to wash a linen undertunic than a heavy, dyed woolen kirtle. This is a widely accepted historical fact. For centuries, right up until the modern era, the linen or cotton shift was the cornerstone of hygiene, a washable barrier between the body and the world. A person's wealth could often be judged by how many linen undergarments they owned, as it signaled they had the means to be consistently clean. Asterisk, as you smooth the tunic down, you think about the journey this fabric has taken. You remember the fields of flax, their delicate blue flowers, a sea of color in the early summer. You remember the harvest, the rhythmic work of pulling the stalks from the earth, and then the long, smelly process of retting soaking the stalks in water until the woody core rots away, leaving behind the tough, stringy fibers. It's a quirky alchemical transformation that turns a stiff plant into the potential for soft cloth. You can almost smell the faint, grassy scent that still clings to the fabric, a ghost of the fields it came from. Asterisk historians and archaeologists still debate the finer points of these undergarments. Were they always plain, or were they sometimes decorated with simple embroidery at the neck and cuffs, hidden from view, but a small personal luxury for the wearer? Evidence is scarce, as linen rarely survives in the acidic soil of the north. Asterisk with the plain linen now settled against your skin, a blank and comfortable foundation, you turn your full attention back to the open chest. And here is where the color lives. The contents of the chest are a rebellion against the gray morning, the brown earth, and the dark wood of the Longhouse. It's a small, personal hoard of sunsets and meadows, of rust and sky. Hollywood in the far future will get you wrong, dressing your descendants in drab leather and depressing shades of mud. They couldn't be more mistaken. You live in a world of vibrant, startling color. Asterisk, you see a folded stack of woolen cloth, each piece a different hue. There's a deep, earthy red, the color of dried blood or rich clay. Next to it is a tunic of sunny, cheerful yellow, the color of welled flowers in full bloom. There's a mossy green, a sky blue, and even a surprising flash of purple, a rare and precious shade. These aren't the flat, uniform colors of a modern factory. They have depth and life, a subtle variation in the tone that speaks of their natural origins. Each color tells a story not just of the garment, but of the season it was made, the plants that were gathered, and the skill of the hands that worked the dye pot. Asterisk, as your hand hovers over the choices, your mind drifts back to the process. The creation of color is a kind of kitchen alchemy, a science of smells and patience passed down from your grandmother to your mother, and now to you. It begins not in the Longhouse, but out in the world, with a basket in your hand. You remember the long summer days spent gathering, the stain of bilberries on your fingers, destined to create a soft, dusty purple. The hunt for the right kind of lichen, clinging to ancient rocks, a variety that, when fermented and boiled, would miraculously yield a rich, crimson dye known as crotal. It's a quirky and lesser-known fact that these simple, slow-growing organisms could produce such a passionate color. Asterisk, you recall digging for roots in the autumn, your hands deep in the cool earth, pulling up the gnarled, reddish roots of the madder plant? Madder is precious. It doesn't just grow wild. It must be cultivated, its beds tended for several years before the roots are mature enough to yield their famous, vibrant red. A tunic dyed with madder is a quiet statement of wealth, a sign that your family has the land and patience to grow more than just food. For Blue, there was woad. You remember the pungent, almost foul smell of the fermented woad leaves, a process that could fill the entire farmstead with its unpleasant aroma for days. Asterisk. But gathering the plants is only the first step. The true magic happens in the dye pot, a huge cauldron set over an outdoor fire, bubbling and steaming like a witch's brew. The wool itself spun into yarn, but not yet woven, is submerged into this simmering, murky soup. But color, you know, is a fickle spirit. It won't stay in the wool on its own. It needs a helper, a chemical handshake to bind it permanently to the fibers. This helper is called a mordant. Sometimes it's a piece of rust-colored iron dropped into the pot to create a darker, sadder shade. Sometimes it's a chunk of alum, a crystalline mineral traded from faraway lands, which makes colors brighter and clearer. Asterisk, and sometimes, for the most pungent and powerful of blues and purples, the mordant is stale urine. You smile a little at the memory. A large clay pot, kept in a warm corner, was the designated collection point. Contributing to it was a communal, domestic duty, and preparing the dye with it was easily the least glamorous job on the farmstead. Historians will later confirm this with a detached, academic curiosity, but you know the potent, ammonia-rich reality of it firsthand. It was a perfume you wouldn't exactly dab behind your ears, but its effect on the dye was undeniable. Asterisk, the most magical moment, the one that never gets old, is pulling the wet, heavy skeins of wool from the pot. A bundle steeped in woad, for example, comes out a sickly, yellowish green. You hold it up on a wooden stick, dripping and steaming in the cool air, and for a moment, you feel a pang of disappointment. But then, as the oxygen in the air hits the fibers, the transformation begins. Before your very eyes, the yellow fades, and a deep, true blue blooms across the wool, darkening and setting as it dries. It never fails to feel like a miracle you've summoned from nothing but smelly leaves and chemistry. Asterisk. Historians still wonder how much control dyers truly had over the final shades. Was the exact recipe for a particularly beautiful green a closely guarded family secret? Did a certain shade of red signify allegiance to a specific chieftain? Or was it simply a sign that the local soil was perfect for growing madder? The knowledge was likely practical, passed down through observation and endless trial and error, a living science without written formulas. Asterisk, your mind returns to the present. You are standing in the dim light of the Longhouse, the smoky air around you, your choice still to be made. Each colored tunic in your chest is a library of these memories of sun, soil, and smelly pots. Today, you feel drawn to the red. It is a strong, warm color, a shield against the lingering chill of the morning. It feels like a promise of energy for the day ahead. You reach in and take it. Asterisk the. You lift the red tunic from the chest. The fabric is woolen, and it feels substantially heavier and denser than the linen under tunic. It has a pleasing, weighty drape to it, a reassuring substance that promises warmth. The wool is not the baby-soft merino of the far future. It has a slightly rough, hairy texture, a character that speaks of the hardy, northern sheep whose fleece it came from. You can feel the slight oiliness of the natural lanolin in the fibers, a built-in waterproofing that will help shed a light mist or drizzle. It smells faintly of wood smoke lanolin and the madder root that gave it its deep, brick red color. This outer garment is called a KJLL, or unlike the simple straight-cut undertunic, this one has a little more shape and style to it. It's still a T-shaped garment at its core, for efficiency of weaving and cutting, but triangular pieces of fabric, called gores, have been set into the sides from the waist down. This clever tailoring trick, a widely accepted feature of Viking Age clothing, gives the skirt of the tunic a gentle flare. It adds fullness and grace to the garment, allowing it to swish and move as you walk, without wasting a single precious scrap of that beautifully dyed cloth. Weaving was an incredibly labor-intensive process, and the idea of cutting and discarding fabric was almost unthinkable. Every piece was used. You pull the kirtle over your head, over the top of your linen, ***. The wool immediately begins to trap your body heat. The sensation is one of being securely insulated, wrapped in a layer of comfortable, breathable warmth. The sleeves are long, ending at your wrists, and the hem of the kirtle falls to somewhere around your shins, low enough to be modest and warm, but high enough that it won't drag in the mud and dirt of the farmstead. The two layers, linen and wool, work together perfectly. The linen keeps you clean, and the wool keeps you warm. This kirtle is your everyday workhorse, but that doesn't mean it's plain. Around the scooped neckline and the cuffs of the sleeves is a decorative band of tablet-woven braid. It's an intricate, geometric pattern woven in contrasting colors, a flash of deep blue and natural white against the madder red. It's like a built-in necklace and bracelets, a permanent bit of flair that elevates the simple garment. This is your personal touch, a bit of handiwork that you might have woven yourself during the long, dark winter evenings. The process is almost meditative, using a set of small, square tablets with holes in them to create complex, sturdy, and beautiful braids. It's another small act of rebellion against a purely functional world, a declaration that beauty and utility can and should coexist. You smooth the tunic down over your hips, the woolen fabric settling into place. It feels just right. Comfortable, practical, but also a reflection of who you are. The color red, is a symbol of life, strength, and vitality. It's a powerful, confident color, and wearing it makes you feel a little more ready to face whatever the day might bring. A lesser-known detail about Viking clothing is its potential for layering. In the depths of winter, you might wear two woolen tunics, one over the other, perhaps with a shorter-sleeved one on top to show off a contrasting color underneath. Fashion, even here, has its complexities and its seasonal trends. As you stand there for a moment, enjoying the feeling of the warm wool, a question floats into your mind. A debate that even the most dedicated historical costumers of the future will argue about. Is this all you wear on top? For a married woman, or a woman of a certain status, there would almost certainly be another layer, a draped, rectangular overdress, often called a peplous, or smocker, held up by two large brooches on the shoulders. This iconic Viking apron dress is the image that comes to most people's minds. But what about for a younger, unmarried woman like yourself? Or what about for a simpler day of work? Was the kirtle worn on its own? Historians still wonder about this. The archaeological evidence is ambiguous. The graves of wealthy women are full of the grand brooches needed to hold up the smocker. But what did a farmer's daughter wear to milk the cow? What did a girl wear when she was running errands? It's entirely possible, even probable, that the simple belted kirtle, just as you are wearing it now, was a common and complete outfit in its own right. Perhaps the apron dress was for more formal occasions, a bit like a modern-day suit jacket, put on when you needed to look your most respectable. So today, you decide, is a kirtle day. Simple, elegant, and unencumbered. You give the flared skirt a little twirl, the wool swinging satisfyingly around your legs. The movement is freeing, You are not constricted by corsets or hobbled by tight skirts. Your clothing is designed for a life of action, for walking great distances, for bending to tend the fire, for reaching to pull herbs from a high shelf. It is a uniform for living, and today, your uniform is the color of a warm, beating heart. The next step, however, requires a bit more focus. It's time to deal with the great mass of now combed hair. It can't just hang loose. That's impractical for work and seen as unkempt. It needs to be tamed, woven into a crown of braids that is both beautiful and functional. Your hair, now smooth and untangled, hangs like a heavy cloak down your back. It's the result of years of good nutrition, fish, grains, and greens, and the absence of harsh chemical treatments. It is thick, healthy, and a significant part of your identity. Leaving it loose and unbound is simply not done. Not for a respectable woman past childhood. It's a safety hazard around the cooking fire. It would get caught in the loom, and it would whip into your eyes in the ever-present northern wind. More than that, a carefully arranged hairstyle is a sign of orderliness and maturity. It's a non-verbal way of saying, I have my life together. Asterisk, you don't have a mirror to work with, not in the modern sense. Your hands are your mirror. You know the shape of your own head, the weight and texture of your hair, with a blind intimacy that requires no reflection. You move to a small stool near the fire, sitting where the light is a little better, the orange glow illuminating the fine strands. Your tools are simple, your fingers, and perhaps a small leather tie or a piece of colored yarn. Asterisk, you begin by parting your hair. There is no comb for this. You use the nail of your index finger, drawing a straight, clean line from your forehead back to the crown of your head. The part doesn't have to be laser perfect, just neat. Today, you decide on 2 braids, a classic and practical style. You divide your hair into 2 equal, heavy sections, draping one over each shoulder. For a moment you look like a storybook character, with 2 thick ropes of hair framing your face. Asterisk, now, the intricate work begins. You take the section on your right side and divide it into 3 equal strands, and then you start to weave. Your fingers move with a life of their own, an inherited muscle memory passed down through generations of women sitting by the fire, their hands always busy. The motion is a rhythmic under-over-under, a quiet dance of digits. It's so familiar you could do it in complete darkness. You don't pull the strands tight against your scalp in a harsh, modern braid. This is a softer, looser style, one that has volume and grace. Asterisk, this is a widely accepted historical fact. Complex hairstyles were a significant part of Viking culture. Sagas and poems speak of hair as golden or bright as the sun. Intricate braids, top knots, and even ponytails are depicted on small figurines, picture stones, and other artifacts. Men, too, took great pride in their hair and beards, often braiding them in equally elaborate ways. A well-kept head of hair was a universal status symbol. It showed you had the time, the tools, and the personal discipline for good grooming. Asterisk, as your fingers continue their work, you add a quirky, less obvious touch. About halfway down the braid, you pause. From a small pouch on the bench, you take out a thin, brightly colored woolen thread, the same blue as the trim on your kirtle. You deftly weave this thread into one of the 3 strands of your braid. As you continue to plait, the blue yarn disappears and reappears in the pattern, a subtle ribbon of color spiraling down the length of your hair. It's a small detail, one that someone might not notice at first glance, but it's a way of tying your whole appearance together, of showing that your choices are deliberate. It's your own quiet form of artistry. Asterisk, you braid all the way down to the end, until you are holding just a small, tapering wisp of hair. You secure it by winding the end of the blue yarn tightly around the tip and tying it off with a quick, secure knot. The braid is complete. It's thick and substantial, hanging heavily over your shoulder. You repeat the entire process on the left side, your hands moving with the same steady, unthinking rhythm. Part, divide, weave, add the yarn, tie it off. The symmetry is pleasing. Asterisk historians and archaeologists still wonder about the full vocabulary of these hairstyles. Did a certain number of braids signify a woman's marital status? Did a particular style indicate which village or family you belonged to? A kind of local dialect spoken in hair? Written sources are largely silent on these everyday details, and art is open to interpretation. Perhaps the elaborate knot depicted on a carved stone figure was for a specific religious festival, a hairdo you would only wear once a year, the Viking equivalent of an elaborate holiday up. We can only guess at the subtle social codes woven into these strands, alongside the colored threads. Asterisk, now you have two long, neat braids, one on each side of your head, but you are not finished. For everyday work, leaving them to hang in front of you can be just as impractical as loose hair. So, you take both braids, bring them around to the back of your head, and cross them over at the nape of your neck. Then you bring the ends up and around, coiling them into a tidy, intricate bun or crown on the back of your head. You tuck the ends securely into the coiled braids, the tension of the woven structure holding everything in place. You don't need pins or clips. The architecture of the hairstyle is self-supporting. Asterisk, you pat the finished style. It feels secure, heavy, and balanced. Your hair is now completely off your neck and out of your face. It is a practical, elegant solution. Your head feels crowned, and you carry yourself a little taller. The whole process has taken maybe 10 minutes, a small, quiet investment of time that will last the entire day. Now, with your foundation layers on and your hair neatly arranged, you are ready for the next crucial element, the belt. The piece that will truly bring your outfit together and turn you from a person in a dress into a woman ready for work. Asterisk. Now that your hair is beautifully and securely arranged, you turn to the next essential piece of your daily uniform. It's not a flashy item, not a piece of jewelry, but it is perhaps the most practical and defining element of your entire outfit. It is your belt. You retrieve it from a wooden peg on the wall where it hangs in a neat coil. It's made of thick leather, about an 1/8 thumb's width wide, and dyed a deep, earthy brown with tannins from tree bark. The leather is supple and worn, softened by years of use, and it smells faintly of wax, smoke, and work. Asterisk, you uncoil it. It's long, much longer than your actual waist measurement. This is by design. You wrap it around your waist, over the top of your red woolen kirtle. The belt cinches the loose fabric of the tunic, giving it shape and definition. It's the piece that transforms the garment from a simple, flowing dress into a practical, fitted outfit, pulling the excess material out of your way. You don't thread it through belt loops. Sir Curtel has none. You simply wrap it snugly around your natural waist. Asterisk, the buckle is a simple, sturdy piece of cast bronze, oval-shaped and undecorated. It's functional, not fancy. You thread the leather strap through it, pull it taut, and then you don't stop there. This is where the characteristic style comes in. You take the long leftover end of the belt, the tail, and you loop it up and over the belt itself, letting it hang down the front of your kirtle. This dangling belt end is a distinctive feature of your people's fashion, a detail seen in countless archaeological finds and illustrations. It's a simple, elegant way to deal with the extra length, and it creates a strong, vertical line in your silhouette. Asterisk, but the belt is far more than a simple waist cincher or a decorative element. It is your personal toolkit. It is your portable storage system. It is the Viking Age equivalent of a Swiss Army knife combined with a handbag, and from it hang the quiet, essential tools that you will need to navigate your day. These items are not just randomly attached. They are suspended from the belt by leather cords or attached to a series of bronze rings that act as suspension points. Asterisk. The first and most important item is your knife. It's small, with a simple wooden handle and a short single-edged iron blade. This isn't a weapon. It is a fundamental tool for living. It's your cutlery for meals, your tool for cutting thread, for trimming a stray piece of leather, for whittling a stick, for harvesting herbs from the garden. Life without a knife is almost unimaginable. Its sheath is made of folded, stitched leather, perhaps with a simple tooled line for decoration. It hangs on your right side, where your hand can find it without thinking. The familiar weight of it against your hip is a constant, reassuring presence. This is a widely accepted historical fact. Small, personal utility knives, known as a niffer, were carried by virtually everyone in Viking society, men and women alike. Asterisk next to the knife, on a separate leather thong, is a small pouch. It's made of soft deerskin, gathered at the top with a drawstring. What's inside? It's your personal collection of odds and ends. Perhaps there's a smooth, flat stone you found on the shore that you use for burnishing leather. Maybe there's a lump of beeswax for waxing thread, a spare needle carved from bone and wrapped in a scrap of cloth, or even a dried mushroom that serves as tinder for starting a fire. This pouch is your pocket, your junk drawer, your secret stash of useful things. Its contents are a quirky, miniature biography of your skills and habits. Asterisk on your other side, you have your keys. They are not the small, serrated metal keys of the future. These are long, L-shaped keys, made of bronze or iron, with intricate openwork handles. They are symbols of your authority and responsibility within the household. These keys unlock the wooden chests that store the family's most valuable possessions: preserved foods, fine textiles, silver coins, or precious heirlooms. As the mistressor, a trusted daughter of the house, you hold the keys. This is more than a practical role. It is a powerful status symbol. In the sagas, the lady of the house is often described by her keys, jingling at her waist as she walks. Their gentle, metallic sound announces your presence and your authority. Asterisk, historians still debate the exact function of every object found hanging from belts in ancient graves. Sometimes, they find mysterious-looking metal rods, tweezers, and small ear spoons for cleaning wax from one's ears. It seems your people were quite fond of personal grooming kits. Were these everyday items, or were they reserved for special occasions? Was it fashionable to have a large, jangling collection of tools, or was a more minimalist approach preferred? The answer likely varied from person to person, a matter of personal taste and profession. Asterisk, you adjust the hang of the items, making sure they are balanced and won't knock against each other too much as you move. The weight of the belt is comfortable, grounding. It settles on your hips, a tangible connection to your role and your capabilities. You are not just dressed. You are equipped. You are self-sufficient. Everything you need for the minor tasks and emergencies of the day is right here, within arm's reach. With your knife, your pouch, and your keys, you are prepared. The belt has completed the core of your outfit. And now, with your practical needs met, you can turn to the final, purely aesthetic touches. The addition of a little sparkle and color. With the practical, foundational layers of your outfit now complete, the morning ritual shifts from necessity to a quieter, more personal form of expression. Your core clothing is on, your hair is up, your tools are at your waist. Now is the time for a touch of beauty, a small shimmer of wealth and personality. You turn back to the wooden chest, but you're not looking at the folded stacks of wool. You're looking for a small, carved wooden box nestled in the corner, no bigger than your two hands clasped together. Asterisk, you lift it out. The lid is inlaid with a simple geometric pattern of lighter colored wood. You slide it open, and inside, nestled on a bed of soft, undyed wool, is your treasure, your beads. They are not a random jumble. They are carefully strung on a strong cord of waxed linen, ready to be worn. You lift the strand out, and it makes a soft, glassy clinking sound in the quiet of the Longhouse. It feels cool and heavy in your hands. Asterisk, this isn't a single, uniform strand of pearls. It's a vibrant, eclectic collection, a biography of your life, told in miniature globes of color and light. The most numerous beads are made of glass. There's a deep, cobalt blue one, smooth and perfect as a robin's egg. Next to it is a cheerful yellow bead, and then a green one the color of new leaves. Glassmaking is a magical, almost secret art, a technology imported from faraway lands to the south, like the Rhine River Valley, or even further, in the Byzantine Empire. To own even a few glass beads is a sign of connection to the wider world. Some of the glass beads are simple, monochrome orbs, but others are more elaborate. You run your thumb over one that has a swirling wavy pattern of white glass set into a blue background. Another one has a millefiori design, a mosaic of tiny, flower-like patterns that seem to bloom from within the glass itself. These are not beads you could buy at a local market. They are the products of the great trade routes that crisscross the world, a well-known and documented aspect of your era. This single strand of beads is a map, its contents having traveled thousands of miles by ship, by river, and by caravan to end up here, in your hands, in a smoky longhouse by a northern fjord. In between the glass beads are beads made of other, more personal materials. There's a single, large bead of deep honey-colored amber in the center. It's warmer to the touch than the glass, and it feels almost electric with ancient, captured sunlight. This amber likely came from the shores of the Baltic Sea, another key point on the vast trade network. It is a piece of a fossilized forest, millions of years old, and it is believed to have protective, magical properties. It's your centerpiece, your good luck charm. There are also a few beads carved from jet, a black fossilized wood that can be polished to a high gloss. And then there's a quirky one, a small, unassuming bead carved from a fish vertebra, its natural shape like a tiny, fluted star. It's a humble memento from a particularly good catch, a personal and sentimental object mixed in with the exotic imports. Your collection is a mix of high and low, of the globally traded and the personally found. Historians and archaeologists find these beads in almost every female grave of your period, sometimes in staggering quantities. Hundreds, even thousands, have been found with a single burial. This is a widely accepted fact. Beads were a primary form of currency, adornment, and status for Viking women. They were portable wealth, easier and more beautiful to carry than hack silver or coins. But scholars still wonder about the specific arrangements. Were certain color combinations fashionable in certain decades? Did the number of beads a woman wore between her brooches indicate her age, her number of children, or the wealth of her husband? Was there a silent language of beads that we can no longer understand? You don't think of it in such grand terms. You just know that you love the colors, the feel of them, the way they catch the firelight. Today, you decide to wear just one simple strand. You lift it over your head and let it settle around your neck. It lies in the scoop of your red tunic's neckline, a perfect arc of color against the warm wool. The blue beads pick up the color of the thread in your braids and the trim on your sleeves. The amber glows with a deep inner fire. The weight of it is a gentle, pleasant pressure on your collarbones. It's a simple act, but it changes how you feel. It's like a light has been switched on. You are no longer just a collection of practical garments. You are adorned. The beads are a finishing touch, a quiet declaration of your identity. They connect you to the past, to the person who gave them to you, to the distant lands they came from, and to the present moment, catching the light as you move. You take a moment to admire the effect, not in a mirror, but just by looking down. The splash of color is pleasing. It makes the world feel a little brighter, a little more deliberate. Now, feeling more complete, you turn your mind to the lower half of your body. Your legs are still bare beneath your kirtle, and while the longhouse is warm, the world outside is not. It's time to wrap them up. Your upper body is now a cozy fortress of linen, wool, and adornment, but from the hem of your kirtle downwards, your legs are bare, and beginning to feel the cool air seeping up from the earthen floor. It's time to address this. While your tunic offers some protection, it's not enough for a day of active work, especially if you'll be walking through damp fields or windy paths. For this, you have a clever and incredibly practical solution. Leg wraps. Asterisk from your clothing chest. You pull out 2 long woolen strips of fabric. They are each about 4 inches wide and perhaps 10 to 12 feet long, a seemingly absurd length. The fabric is woven in a tight, herringbone pattern. A chevron-like weave that is not only decorative but also gives the cloth a slight, natural elasticity, which is perfect for this purpose. These are your winningas, a piece of clothing whose name has a pleasingly straightforward, no-nonsense ring to it. One pair is a simple, undyed wool, but the ones you've chosen for today are dyed a deep, mossy green, a color that will complement the warm red of your kirtle. Asterisk, you sit back down on the stool by the fire, the long strips of wool pooled in your lap. You pick up one end and begin the process. It is a ritual of wrapping, a rhythmic, almost meditative task that requires a certain knack to get just right. You start at your ankle, placing the end of the strip against your skin and wrapping it around once to secure it. Then, you begin the slow, methodical spiral up your leg. Asterisk, each wrap slightly overlaps the one below it, creating a double layer of wool that is both insulating and protective. You pull the strip taut with each turn, but not so tight that it will cut off circulation. This is a skill born of practice. Too loose, and the wraps will sag and bunch around your ankles within an hour, a frustrating and sloppy affair. Too tight, and your feet will start to tingle with a pins and needles numbness. You have, through trial and error, found the perfect tension. Asterisk, the process is slow and rhythmic. Wrap, pull, smooth. Wrap, pull, smooth. The herringbone pattern creates a pleasing visual texture as you work your way up your calf. This practice is a widely accepted historical fact, confirmed by archaeological finds of the small metal hooks used to secure the wraps, as well as by manuscript illustrations from the period and beyond. These leg wraps were not unique to your people. They were a common feature of clothing for many centuries in early medieval Europe. A simple and effective way to protect the lower legs. They were the ancestors of modern socks and gaiters, all rolled into one. Asterisk, as you continue to wind the fabric around your leg, you think about its purpose. The first is obvious: warmth. The double layer of wool traps air, creating a powerful insulating barrier against the cold. The second is protection. If you are walking through thorny undergrowth or tall wet grass, the wraps protect your skin from scratches and moisture. They also provide a surprising amount of ankle and calf support, a bit like a modern compression sock, which is a welcome relief on days that involve a lot of walking or standing. Asterisk, finally, you reach your knee. You have just enough fabric left. You wrap it around one last time and secure the end. There are a few ways to do this. Sometimes you just tuck the end firmly into the wrap below it, and the tension of the wool holds it in place. Other times, you use a small, simple bronze hook and eye clasp for extra security. A more quirky and less commonly known method involves using leather garters or braided cords tied just below the knee to hold everything up. Today, you opt for the simple tuck. You press it in firmly, and it feels secure. Asterisk, you have one leg completed. It feels snug, warm, and supported, encased in a neat green spiral. It looks rather smart, a flash of contrasting color below the hem of your red tunic. You then pick up the second strip and repeat the entire process on the other leg, mirroring your movements. Wrap, pull, smooth. The symmetry of the action is deeply satisfying. Asterisk, historians still debate the social significance of these wraps. Were certain colors or weave patterns reserved for people of a certain rank? We know from Frankish sources that high-ranking men sometimes wore incredibly elaborate, cross-gartered leg coverings, but the rules for everyday Nordic life are less clear. Perhaps the quality of the wool, the fineness of the weave, and the richness of the dye were the real indicators of status. A wealthy chieftain might have leg wraps of fine, brightly dyed wool with silver hooks, while a simple farmer might wear undyed homespun cloth. Yours are of good quality. The dye is even and rich, a sign of a prosperous and well-managed household. Asterisk, with both legs now wrapped, you stand up and take a few steps. They feel perfect. Secure, warm, and flexible. You can bend your knees and move freely. The final step for your feet is your shoes. You retrieve them from under the bench. They are simple, soft-soled leather shoes, made from a single piece of hide that has been stitched together and then turned inside out, so the seams are on the inside. They look a bit like modern slippers or moccasins. You slip them on. They are not meant for aggressive hiking, but for the paths and fields of your home. They are perfect. Asterisk, your lower body is now ready. You are insulated from the ground up, prepared for the chill that still hangs in the air outside. The last major piece of your clothing puzzle awaits. The outer layer that will protect you from the wind and announce your status to the world, your cloak. You are almost ready. The layers are in place. The colors are chosen. The accessories are secured. But one final essential garment remains. The one that serves as both your shield against the elements and a clear, unambiguous statement of your place in the world. It is time for your cloak. You walk to one of the large, carved posts that supports the roof of the Longhouse. Hanging from a thick wooden peg is a heavy rectangle of dark blue wool. This is your fjord asterisk. You take it down, and the weight of it in your arms is immediately comforting. It is substantially heavier than your tunic, woven from a thick, dense, and slightly shaggy wool known as wadmal. This fabric is the backbone of your people's economy. It's so standardized in its quality and size that it's often used as a form of currency. A bolt of wadmal has a known value, as reliable as a silver coin. The wool is oily with lanolin, making it naturally water-resistant. It won't keep you dry in a downpour, but it will shed mist, fog, and light snow with remarkable efficiency. The color is a deep, indigo blue, a costly and prestigious dye that hints at your family's prosperity. Asterisk, the cloak is a simple rectangle. There is no complex tailoring here, no fitted shoulders or elegant hood. Its genius is in its simplicity. It is a versatile, multi-purpose tool. It is your overcoat, your blanket, your shelter. When you are traveling, you can sleep under it. If you are caught in a sudden storm, you can huddle beneath its protection. It is the original performance fabric, a piece of technology perfected over centuries. Asterisk, you drape it over your shoulders. It doesn't close at the front like a modern coat. Instead, you wear it asymmetrically, with the bulk of the fabric draped over your left arm, leaving your right arm your dominant, working arm completely free and This is a practical and widely accepted style of wearing a cloak in your era, allowing for freedom of movement while still providing warmth and protection. You pull the top edge across your chest, from your left shoulder over to your right. The heavy fabric falls in deep, satisfying folds around you. Asterisk, but a cloak, however heavy, will not stay in place on its own. It needs a fastener, and this fastener is not a simple button or a toggle. It is, after your beads, your most important piece of jewelry. It is your brooch. You pick it up from the small wooden box where you keep your treasures. It's a penannular brooch, which means it's an incomplete ring, a C-shape of solid, polished bronze with a long sharp pin attached to the ring by a hinge. The bronze has a warm, golden sheen in the firelight, and the terminals, the two ends of the C-shape, are flattened and decorated with a simple pattern of stamped dots and circles. Asterisk, holding the brooch in your right hand. You perform a deft, practiced maneuver. You gather up the two layers of the cloak's edge on your right shoulder. You then push the long, sharp pin through both layers of the thick wool. The pin goes through, the fabric is elate, is designed not to tear the weave, but to slip between the threads. Once the pin is through, you bring its sharp point back out, and then twist the C-shaped ring around. So the pin rests against it, locking everything securely in place. The weight of the cloak pulling against the pin is what keeps the mechanism fastened. It's a simple, clever piece of physics that is incredibly secure. This brooch will not come undone by accident. Asterisk, the brooch sits glinting on your right shoulder. A single, bright point of metal against the dark blue wool. It's a functional object, but, like the comb, it is also a thing of beauty and a powerful social signal. The size, material, and complexity of a brooch are immediate indicators of the wearer's wealth and status. A powerful chieftain might wear a massive, ornate brooch of solid silver, intricately carved with mythical beasts. A queen might wear one of gold, set with precious stones. Yours is of humble, solid bronze, but it is well made and polished. It says you are from a respectable landowning family, not fabulously wealthy, but comfortable and proud. It's a quiet, confident statement. Asterisk, a quirky, lesser-known aspect of these brooches is their sheer variety. Archaeologists will unearth thousands of them, in countless different regional styles. Trefoil brooches, animal head brooches, box brooches, disc brooches. It seems that, much like modern watches or handbags, brooch fashion was constantly evolving. The style of your brooch could potentially tell a knowledgeable observer which part of the country you were from and even what decade it was. Asterisk. Historians still wonder about the secondary uses of that long, sharp pin. While its primary function was fastening, it is, in essence, a formidable spike. Could it have been used defensively in an emergency? A last-ditch weapon for a woman to protect herself? Or was it simply a convenient tool for poking, prodding, or cleaning things? The sagas are filled with tales of resourceful women, and it's not hard to imagine that formidable-looking pin being used for something more than just holding a cloak together. Asterisk, you adjust the hang of the cloak one last time. It feels magnificent. The weight on your shoulders is grounding, the soft wool a protective shell. You are now fully insulated, a multi-layered self-sufficient ecosystem of warmth and preparedness. You are a splash of red and blue against the smoky browns of the Longhouse, your hair neatly crowned, your tools at your waist, and your status gleaming from your shoulder. There are just one or two final subtle touches left before you are truly ready to step out and greet the day. You are dressed, layered, wrapped, pinned, and balanced. The construction of your daily armor is nearly complete, but there are a few final, almost invisible details that remain, the subtle touches that belong more to the realm of cosmetics and scent than to clothing. These are the details that are just for you. Small refinements that make you feel polished and fully present in your own skin. Asterisk. First, you consider scent. Your world is not one of artificial perfumes and deodorants. It is a world of rich, natural smells. Wood smoke, wool, damp earth, cooking food. To be clean is to smell of lye soap and fresh air. But that doesn't mean you don't appreciate a pleasant fragrance. From your small personal chest, you take out a tiny hollowed-out piece of bone, sealed with a beeswax plug. You pop the plug with your thumbnail, and a faint, sweet, and resinous scent drifts up. Asterisk. Inside is a small amount of a thick, waxy paste. It's a simple, solid perfume, made from beeswax and rendered sheep fat, infused with fragrant herbs and resins. You remember gathering the ingredients yourself, the tiny, intensely aromatic blossoms of meadowsweet from the water's edge, and the sticky golden sap that bleeds from pine trees. This mixture was heated gently over the fire for hours until the wax and fat became saturated with the scent. It's not a loud, overwhelming perfume. It's a quiet, personal fragrance. Asterisk. You take a small dab on your fingertip and rub it onto your wrists and the warm skin behind your ears. The warmth of your body releases the subtle aroma. It doesn't project across the room. It's a scent that someone would only notice if they were standing very close to you. A pleasant surprise in a world of otherwise earthy smells. It's a small, secret luxury. Asterisk. Next, you turn your attention to your face. You are already fresh-faced from the icy fjord water, your skin tingling and clean. But there is one more enhancement. A surprisingly common and historically documented practice that often gets overlooked in popular depictions of your people. You reach for another small container, this one, a tiny pottery jar. Inside is a fine, dark, gray powder. Asterisk, this is coal. It's not just for the pharaohs of Egypt. This dark, powdery cosmetic has traveled the world. Its recipe and use spreading along the same trade routes that brought you your glass beads. It's made from finely ground antimony sulfide or, sometimes, from simple soot mixed with a little oil or fat to make it easier to apply. Your people, both men and women, use it to line their eyes. The Arab traveler, Ibn Fadlan, the same one who was bemused by your morning washing habits, noted this with fascination, writing that the Vikings wore dark makeup around their eyes to enhance their beauty. This is a widely accepted historical fact that shatters the myth of a purely natural look. Asterisk, you dip the tip of a small, smooth stick whittled from a bird bone into the powder. A tiny amount clings to the end. You bring it carefully to your eye. This takes a steady hand. You don't draw a sharp, dramatic cat eye like a 1960s model. Instead, you gently apply the powder along your upper lash line and perhaps a little on the lower waterline. The effect is not a heavy, painted mask. It is a subtle darkening, a soft smudging of gray that makes your eyes look bigger and more defined in the dim light of the Longhouse. It accentuates their color and intensity. Asterisk, it's a quirky and unexpected detail. This touch of smoky glamour in a world of wool and iron. It serves a dual purpose. Aesthetically, it's seen as beautiful and intimidating, making your gaze more powerful. Practically, some believe it helps to reduce the glare of the sun reflecting off water or snow, much like the eye black worn by modern athletes. For you, it's simply a part of looking your best, a final piece of the puzzle. You apply it to the other eye, blinking a few times to settle the powder. Asterisk, historians still debate the extent and meaning of this practice. Was kohl an everyday cosmetic, or was it saved for festivals and rituals? Was it a marker of a warrior, a sign of a wealthy trader with access to exotic goods, or simply a widespread fashion trend? The discovery of the finely ground powders and the applicators in graves suggests it was a deeply personal and significant part of many people's appearance. It was a way to shape your own face, to present a more dramatic, more defined version of yourself to the world. Asterisk, with the subtle scent applied and your eyes quietly enhanced, you feel a sense of completion. These last steps were not about warmth or practicality. They were about identity. They were about the deliberate choice to add beauty and mystery to your presence. You have tended to your whole self, from the soles of your feet to the tips of your eyelashes. Now, there is only one thing left to do before you can truly say you are ready to see, however imperfectly, the person you have assembled. Asterisk, with the final touches of scent and kohl applied, a natural human impulse arises, the desire to see the result of your careful work. But in your world, this is not a simple or straightforward act. There are no floor-to-ceiling glass mirrors hanging on the walls, no pocket compacts for a quick, clear check. Seeing your own reflection is a rare and slightly magical event, an encounter with a more mysterious, less precise version of yourself. Asterisk, you walk over to a large, carved wooden chest that holds your mother's finest textiles. Resting on top of it, wrapped in a soft piece of deerskin to protect its surface, is one of the household's most prized possessions. You carefully unwrap it. It's a small, handheld mirror, but it's not made of glass. It is a disc of solid bronze, about the size of your hand, with a short, integrated handle. all cast in a single piece. The back of the disc and the handle are decorated with the familiar, swirling knotwork patterns that adorn so many of your belongings. Asterisk the front, however, is what matters. It has been polished and polished and polished again, with fine sand and smooth stones, until its surface has achieved a soft, warm, reflective sheen. This is not the cold, perfect reflection of a modern silver glass mirror. The image it gives back is darker, warmer, with a golden hue cast by the bronze itself. It is a reflection that is more of an impression, a portrait, rather than a photograph. Asterisk, you hold it up, angling it to catch the best light from the central fire. You have to find the sweet spot, the perfect angle, where the light illuminates your face without causing a blinding glare on the polished metal. You find it, and there you are. A softer, dreamier version of yourself looks back. The firelight flickers in the bronze, making the reflection seem alive, as if it's breathing. Asterisk, you see the deep red of your tunic, the color rich and velvety in the mirror's golden glow. You see the arc of your colorful beads, each one a small, soft point of light. You can make out the neatness of your hairline and the way your braids crown your head, a dark and intricate silhouette. The subtle kohl around your eyes is visible, not as a sharp line, but a soft shadow that deepens your gaze. The face that stares back at you looks strong, calm, and complete. Asterisk, this kind of mirror is a luxury item, while not impossibly rare. Owning one is a sign of significant status. It implies a household with enough disposable wealth to trade for such an object, and enough leisure time for personal vanity. This is a widely accepted historical fact. Polished metal mirrors, made of bronze, silver, or even just highly polished iron were the primary means of seeing one's reflection for thousands of years, long before the invention of modern glass mirrors. Asterisk, as you gaze at your reflection, a quirky and very human thought occurs to you. Is this what other people see when they look at you? This golden, slightly blurry, almost idealized version? Or is the reality sharper, more detailed, less forgiving? The mirror's gentle distortion is, in a way, a kindness. It smooths over small blemishes, softens the lines of your face, and bathes you in a perpetual, flattering twilight. It's impossible to be overly critical of your appearance in a mirror like this. It simply doesn't provide enough data for harsh It shows you the essence of you, not the minutia. Asterisk, you turn your head from side to side, watching how the firelight plays on the polished bronze of your brooch and the smooth curves of your amber bead. The movement is fluid, graceful. You are not checking for flaws. You are simply appreciating the finished picture, the composition you have created this morning, layer by layer. Asterisk, historians and archaeologists still wonder about the cultural impact of such imperfect reflections. In a world without crisp, clear mirrors, was the concept of self-image different? Was there less anxiety about personal appearance, and more focus on the overall impression of color, texture, and form, without the ability to obsess over every pore and stray hair? Perhaps beauty was understood in broader, more holistic strokes. It was about the health of your hair, the richness of your dyed clothes, the quality of your jewelry, things that signaled health, wealth, and competence. Things that a bronze mirror could reflect perfectly well. Asterisk, satisfied, you breathe a quiet sigh. The person in the mirror looks ready. She looks like she belongs to this world, to this family, to this time. You wrap the precious bronze disc back in its soft leather covering and place it carefully back on the chest. The encounter is over. You don't need to look again. The image is fixed in your mind, a quiet source of confidence that you will carry with you throughout the day. Asterisk, your outfit feels complete, your appearance settled, but as you stand there, about to turn towards the door, your eye catches one last thing in your open clothing chest. A small folded square of impossibly fine fabric. Your hand, almost of its own accord, reaches back into the chest. Your fingers find a small, folded square of fabric. As you lift it, it seems to weigh almost nothing. It unfolds in your hands, not like wool or linen, but like a whisper, cascading in a soft, shimmering rectangle. It is silk. The color is a deep, jewel-toned green, and its surface catches the firelight with a liquid luster that no other fabric can replicate. Asterisk, this small piece of cloth, perhaps a simple headband, or a decorative strip to be tucked into your belt, is the most exotic and precious material you own. It has traveled further than any person you have ever known. Its journey, a near mythical epic. Its story begins, thousands of miles to the east, in the mysterious lands of Sarika, the land of the Silk People, a place you know only from the tales of traders and storytellers. There, on the leaves of mulberry trees, tiny worms spun cocoons of a single, impossibly long and strong thread. Asterisk, unraveling this thread, spinning it, dyeing it, and weaving it into cloth was a closely guarded secret, a technology worth more than gold. From those distant lands, this fabric began its slow, perilous journey westward. It traveled on the backs of camels, across vast deserts, and over treacherous mountain passes. It was loaded onto ships that sailed across unknown seas. It was traded from merchant to merchant, its value increasing with every mile it traveled. This is the legendary Silk Road, a sprawling network of trade that connected the great empires of the world. And this small piece of green fabric in your hands is its final destination. This is a widely accepted historical fact. Silk, either as whole cloth or as embroidered strips and threads, reached even the most remote corners of the Viking world, a testament to the incredible reach of their trade networks. Asterisk, you hold it to your cheek, and the sensation is unlike anything else. It is cool, smooth, and utterly frictionless. It feels like water, like air, compared to the honest, rustic scratch of your wool and the coarse sturdiness of your linen. This silk is an alien light. It is pure, unapologetic luxury. Asterisk, owning a piece of silk this large is a sign of immense prestige. More often, silk was used sparingly, cut into thin strips, and used as decorative trim on the cuffs and collars of tunics, or for the most intricate and colorful embroidery threads. A wealthy chieftain might have a tunic with a full front panel of patterned silk, a dazzling display of worldliness and power. Your piece is more modest, but no less treasured. Asterisk, today, you decide to wear it as a simple headband, a flash of brilliant color against your dark, braided hair. You fold it into a narrow band and wrap it around your head, over the top of your braids, tying it with a neat, simple knot at the nape of your neck. The two ends hang down, a short, shimmering ribbon against your back. Asterisk, the effect is subtle but transformative. It adds a final touch of the exotic, a hint of a world far beyond your fjord and your farmstead. It is a conversation piece, an object that carries 1,000 stories within its shimmering threads. A quirky detail found in archaeological contexts is the discovery of these silk fragments in the graves of otherwise ordinary-seeming people. It suggests that even a small piece of this magical fabric was a cherished possession, something to be worn with pride in life and taken as a comfort into the afterlife. Asterisk, historians still debate the full economic and cultural impact of this silk trade. Did the Vikings understand its true origins, or was it simply a magical material from a mythical East? How was its value calculated against the more familiar currencies of silver and wadmel? Was it bartered for with furs, amber, and walrus, ivory, the cold, hard treasures of the north traded for the soft, weightless treasures of the south? The presence of a single silk thread in a humble grave raises more questions than it answers about the complex web of desires and ambitions that connected your world to the far corners of the earth. Asterisk, you gently touch the silk band on your head. It feels secure. The brilliant green sets off the red of your tunic and the blue of your cloak, creating a rich and sophisticated color palette. It makes you feel connected, not just to your own land, but to the great, swirling currents of the wider world. It's a secret whispered from a distant empress, a story of deserts and oceans, all wrapped neatly around your head. Asterisk now. Truly, you are ready. Every layer is in place, from the practical linen against your skin to the exotic silk in your hair. You have built your appearance with intention and care. You are a walking tapestry of local craft and global trade, of personal history and shared culture. The process is complete. All that is left is to step outside and begin the day you have so carefully prepared for.